Hi everybody, I'm Wayne Trammell from the Remote Leadership Institute, and I want to talk to you for just a minute about webcams. They're marvelous little inventions, really, something like a miracle. I mean, with the touch of a button, you can talk face to face with people anywhere in the world in real time for practically no expense and with equipment most people already have. It's really the stuff of science fiction. Unfortunately, to some of your team members, they're more like a horror story. It doesn't take much to discuss the positive effects of webcam. It plays to our scientific need for visual connection, to put a face to a name. We pay more attention when there's a visual. We get to know the other person through nonverbal and physical cues. So all of that stuff is great. There aren't actually a lot of drawbacks to using cameras, other than, this, which makes it kind of a mixed blessing. But for all the obvious advantages, people still get weirded out by having to use cameras. And there are basically three reasons for this. The first is the technology itself. Not everyone has used it often enough to be comfortable with it. And at work, if you feel uncomfortable, you're probably not relaxed, you're probably not doing your best work, and it's more stressful and complicated than it really needs to be. With most platforms, it's simply click the button and maybe you need to click it a second time to get it out of preview mode. It doesn't take much training to give people the basics of webcams, but there is a learning curve and most people don't volunteer to learn more stuff. The second reason that people feel resistant is they don't like the idea of being on camera. They think they look weird, or the camera will put them in an unflattering light. Their office is a mess. Maybe they don't really have an office at all, and they're working off the north end of the dining room table. Maybe the cat has a tendency to walk across the keyboard at the worst possible moment. Often it's because when people work from home, they don't dress the same way they do in the office, right? Your Led Zeppelin t-shirt or your hair in a bad ponytail because you got back from the gym is not a great look when talking to the VP of sales. Now, first of all, some people just worry too much about that stuff. In casual situations, nobody really cares. And actually, it can help build relationships. The cat walks across the keyboard and people say, "Oh, who's your baby?" And you start talking about cats and you're relating on a more human level. So it's not all bad. Remember, online, you only need to be dressed from the waist up. I live in Las Vegas where even in air conditioning it can be warm. I keep a dress shirt handy in case I have last minute sales calls. And I know I've now put the image in your head and you're wondering about what's below camera view. Keep wondering. The final reason that people don't use their cameras is simply inertia. We've always done it by phone and it works, and so why mess with it? And that raises the obvious question of, does it in fact work? Could it be better than it's been? So there are some ways to get people to use their webcams, and here are three. Number one is, ironically, don't make webcam use a big deal. If the only time you mandate being on camera is when it's an important meeting, people are going to associate the use of the camera with stressful situations. The more you use it in casual, short, no big deal, hey, have you got a minute type chats, the more people will relax and get used to them. Talk to your team about using cameras and make a commitment that by a certain point, everyone will have had a cam chat with their manager as well as with at least one other team member. Second, you need to make sure you model the use yourself. Does my manager use the tool? Is the number one factor in whether or not a team uses a technology very well. Try to use your webcam at least 50% of the time when having one-on-one calls. A simple way to get this started is whenever you make an appointment to talk to somebody, just ask them, phone or webcam. You'd be surprised how that number starts to climb. And then talk to your team about their objections. What is it? If it's how they look or dress, Maybe it's time for a conversation about professional appearance on camera. Maybe as long as they aren't talking to customers, you're fine with the gym look and you can help them relax about that. That's between you and your team. But find out what the real objections are. If it's that they work from the north end of the dining room table and the place is a mess, help them find a place where they can just set up for a brief period of time. If they don't know the technology, hook them up with somebody on the team who's tech savvy and help build those relationships within the team. Okay, that's it. Just a reminder, we have a new session of the Remote Leadership Certificate Series coming up soon. You can learn all about leading remote teams, leading virtual meetings, coaching at a distance, goal setting, and more. Check our website under events for details and for more information on communicating effectively as the leader of a remote or a hybrid team. Check us out at www.remoteleadershipinstitute.com.